We're good to go.
Welcome everyone to the November 15th, 2024 meeting of the Community Recovery Fund Advisory Committee. We have probably just one decision we need to make today, and then we have a series of updates. So the decision is a carryover from the last meeting, the Village at Ithaca project, and they had asked for a change of scope of what they wanted to do, basically switching from money for building, for expanding the building, to basically keeping the program funded operationally for the next year. That's what they would use the money for instead. And so we heard from them last time. We had a lot of discussion. We had a few concerns. We wanted to give it some more thought and hear from more people, and a lot of that's happened. So that's where we're at for a decision point. We do have a contract that's been drawn up that's slightly modified from what it was before to try to address some of the concerns that we had last time. And so let's just start there. Does anybody want to ask questions or make comments? Norma, is there anything you want to say?
So what I put on your desk document that basically is, it's not quite a contract yet because it hasn't been reviewed by all of the contracts coordinator or the attorneys, but it's kind of outlining some language that could be used in a contract that would basically require that the services that we're supporting are only for adults, young adults age 18 to 25. And so it's kind of clarifying that language. It's also clarifying that, you know, they have to follow, you know, there's different rules and regulations that have to be filed based on state compliance laws and financial reporting requirements. So that's what this is supposed to just kind of give some guidelines of what would be included in a contract should the committee decide to move forward with this shift in funding.
Questions or comments? Randy?
I didn't read through their handbook, but I did read what HUD had written and what they expected, and then the response from that. It appeared to me it was mostly reporting related. I didn't see any issues of anybody being mistreated or anything like that written up. Did anybody else see anything like that? Or I didn't see anything like that. So I'm going to support this. I think that it's the right thing to do.
Questions or comments? All right, are we ready for a vote then? Right, thank you. And I was actually thinking too what the actual resolution is, what the motion is the motion to approve the change of scope for the Village at Ithaca contract. Does that sound right? Okay, somebody want to move that? Travis moves, Susan seconds. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you, thank you. All right, and then the other agenda item is to go through a few of the awards and awardees to report on their status. There were, as we heard last time, there were some people we haven't really heard from in a while. We were unclear about whether they were planning on using all their money, whether they were up to date in vouchering for what they had spent already, those kinds of things. So, Norma, do you want to take us through the various groups?
Sure. So the Tompkins-Cortland Community, I'll just kind of go down through the list. The Tompkins-Cortland Community College micro-credentials that we spoke about last time. Samantha has been doing some work. I will say, first of all, we sent out a termination letter to all of the folks that we talked about the last time at the last meeting. And it's surprising how many people came out and responded when that came out. So just thought I would add that in. So we did start hearing from folks once we sent that termination out. And it is our goal to see these funds be spent the way they were intended. So the Tompkins-Cortland Community College contacted us. They are interested in continuing this program and extending their contract through 2025. And their total award was $111,820. In 2023, I'm just kind of give you the background. 2023, they spent $22,707, and in 2024, their anticipated expenditures, we don't have all of their receipts in yet, but there's going to be somewhere around $40,000 or $41,000. You may recall that they had $65,815.36 left on that unspent as of today. With the anticipated expenditures that coming in, that'll leave them with about $49,519, and they estimate that they will need about $41,000 in 2025. So I suppose we could either leave the remaining funding at $49,519, or modify the contract to better align with what their estimate is at $41,000, and then recoup the $8,519 back into the unappropriated funds for ARPA. I don't know if you want to take these one at a time.
I think we better, yes,
Okay,
thank you.
okay.
Can you remind us when their contract ends?
Their contract ends, let's see, their contract dates were extended to the end of this year. So they're asking for an extension through next year.
So they would like an extension and
to be allowed to use, and their estimated amount of funding that for 2025 would be $41,000, which would leave that $8,519 remaining.
thoughts about this one? Randy?
Norm, you sent out a document about when the funds had to be spent by.
Mhm.
All funds have to be expended by the end of '26?
Correct.
Then it later on.
Yeah, Samantha's one actually spoke with them directly, so.
This is a new program. They're not sure if it's going to be extended into 2026, but they do know right now that they will have this into 2025. And they expect maybe 41,000 that they can spend.
Thoughts? Okay, I feel like we're not taking any money away from them. They're only asking for 41,000, and so we should recoup the other eight-ish thousand?
Yeah.
That's my feeling. I mean, I'm, like I said, we're not taking anything away. That's their request. So, other thoughts?
And if it's unspent, if they only think they're going to spend 41,000 and it's unspent as of the end of 2025, that money is no longer available to the county. So I think we're trying to be a little conservative on that as well.
Make a motion then to decide? I think it's probably best, right? Yeah, let's have a vote. So was anyone that would make a motion to extend the contract through 2025 and allocate the 41,000? Is there a more exact number? I'm sorry. 41,000 that they're requesting. Travis moves. Veronica seconds. Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, let's have a vote then. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you.
The next one that was on our list was Varna Community Association. We may have already settled on this, but I just want to make sure. So the organization has a remaining balance of $3,638.74. For them to be able to use those funds, they would have to raise an additional $17,000 by February. And right now, we have an amendment set to close this out because it's a little iffy about whether or not they'll be able to get that $17,000 raised in time. So I think we may have settled that last time. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Yes.
aware of what they responded and let you know they let you know all that, yeah.
The South Hill School Age Program, we still haven't heard anything from the South Hill School. Their contract, ended in April. So we intend to close that as well unless somebody else has heard something else. But we've not received anything back from them. The new route.
Sorry, Veronica, did you have a question?
Oh, sorry.
Can you remind us what is the current situation with that?
Well, so we were waiting for proof of payment for their $1,990, and their contract ended in April, and we have not been able to reach anybody or get any.
So closing the contract would just mean like,
Taking the funds back.
right, okay.
The New Roots Charter School had unspent funds at $82,159, and their contract is set to end on June 30th, 2025. We received some information from them that they recently hired an individual to run the Earth Force program and are unsure if they can spend the funding by June 30th, 2025. They may ask for another contract extension for that, but at least we have heard back from the New Roots Charter School.
Yeah, I remember you told me also that we're waiting, they haven't vouchered in quite a while, but go ahead, Samantha.
I received those vouchers today for Q2 and Q3. It only amounts to about $11,000, which brought the total down from $93,000 to $82,000 still unspent.
I'm sorry, so what did they expect to be able to spend in 2025? Did they tell us that?
He couldn't tell me that.
What was the actual contract for? What were we funding again? What was the actual project?
Create a sustainable workforce development program for youth that will prepare them for high-quality employment in the green economy through investments in a program instructor/coordinator, stipends for community educators. Oh, you were looking for the total or what it was for? Oh, yeah.
At Q2, Q3, it was 11,000 roughly is what they sent invoices for?
Yes.
Have this program in place at that time, is that correct? They just hired somebody to run it, is that?
Yes, they just hired somebody to run it. I'm not entirely sure why it hasn't been going faster than this. I do know in January, well, Q1, they had $53,000 worth of expenses, and then everything just kind of dropped down. So he didn't explain why the decrease for Q2 and Q3, but I'm guessing maybe they had a change in employment or something, staffing changes.
You have a recommendation on this one for us?
I don't. I haven't heard anything from them since the beginning of the year, and they just got me a couple invoices for $10,000. So it's hard to say if the new employer will, or the new employee is going to be able to hit the ground running and spend the $93,000. But I know it's a program that's kind of in place.
To maybe just set up a meeting with them and have a conversation about what they think they're going to spend. If we can, it's probably not going to, from the sounds of it, it may not be as much as we have left in there, but at least we could come back with a recommendation or a resolution. Maybe if you can do a member-filed resolution, if we can get an answer to just make that adjustment based on what they think they can spend through the end of, even if we extend it to the end of 2025, what they think they can do with that. Does that sound like a reasonable course of action at this point.
That sounds perfectly reasonable to me. How about other people?
I like that idea. I mean, I know from a programming standpoint, things don't always work the way you plan for a variety of reasons, and I would hate to leave that kind of money on the table. But I also don't want to short them if they got it figured out now.
Right.
So that sounds good to me.
It may not be exactly as they planned, but we'll get, maybe we can support them as far as we can. At the Ithaca Farmers Market, do we need a motion? We don't need to, no action on that one, okay. The Farmers Market, we had, we were waiting for some, well, they had unspent funds of $9,449. We have received receipts for equal to about $4,264. And we have a pending proof of payment for about $2,200. So they have a balance of $2,943. They have requested us to extend their contract through 2025. It has been quite a bit of administrative work to receive the contract, or to get the receipts for this particular program, so I just want to add that in as you make your decisions.
Questions, comments, discussion, farmers market? So our decision is whether to take back the $2,900 or extend their contract into 2025. Okay. You want to make that as a motion?
Motion that we extend their contract through 2025.
Vote then, all in favor? Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you.
And I don't think this was on your list last month, but it was one that came up as we were doing some more research. The Advocacy Center of Tompkins County, we were waiting for information. We hadn't received anything from them since 2023, fourth quarter. I just, as I was at a meeting this afternoon, got a voicemail from the executive officer saying that they were down a finance person and an administrative assistant, and didn't realize that we were trying to reach them. So I've got to call back out to them to see where they are in this contract. So I guess at this point, it's similar to the new routes, maybe to have another conversation to see where they are and what they think they're going to spend, and that might be a second resolution to bring to the committee.
Advocacy Center, we haven't really heard back, but we just made contact, and the recommendation is to also have a further conversation and do a member file resolution if necessary. Does anybody want to make that motion? Susan? Actually, do we need a motion on that? Probably not, it's just a conversation. So. Okay, well, I think, is it the sense of the group that we want to do that?
I think so. I know I'm concerned that we have to get to this point with some of the agencies that got this money. I understand things happen and all of that stuff, but there doesn't seem to be a sense of urgency until you're told that the funding is, may possibly be taken. And so then you're moved into action and you get past that point, but then do you continue to stay moved into action to actually spend that money? That's a concern. I mean, the money, I don't want a dollar of this to go to waste or go unused. But once we get past a certain point in time, there is no urgency because it's just gone. And so for them and the Roots, I want the meeting to happen, but I am reluctant to extend because there hasn't been a sense of urgency all this time. When they applied for the funds, everything was figured out, worked out. And if you just can't use it, send it back so we can make some good use of it. So it's a little troubling to me. Other agencies in the very beginning of this process could have used that money, could have made good use of that money, and they weren't able to. So it's a little disappointing. That's very disappointing, actually.
Any other thoughts? Okay. So I think you're saying you're concerned, but you're willing to let that process go forward. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll share the sentiment as well, though.
With the Advocacy Center, I think their leadership turned over at the beginning of this year, if I recall. I'm not sure. Maybe that's it, but it is a concern that if somebody gives you money, you should use it.
Audio issues?
Yes, if everyone could speak directly into their microphone kind of loudly, it'd be great.
That's the whole list, is that correct?
I think so, yep.
Okay.
I could make some things up for you, Dan.
Sure. Okay, so really that's all the business we have today, unless somebody else has another thought. Going once, going twice? All right, well, thank you for coming together on short notice for this meeting, taking care of business. We're adjourned. Thanks.